welcome back to my channel. It has been so long and I'm so excited to bring you today's video. Today's video we will be talking about some underrated and very overrated products, makeup products at Sephora. So for those of you who don't know, I used to be a Sephora beauty advisor. I really enjoyed it. I worked in Seattle at the University Village, if you've been there before. And I'm actually super excited to be collaborating with Ramón for this video. A lot of you may know him here on YouTube as Glow by Ramón. He is such an amazing creator, and he and I actually became friends online after we both became influencers, content creators. We actually both started creating content around the same time, and it's been so amazing to watch Ramón grow here on YouTube. He literally started from zero to where he is right now. I highly recommend you check him out. He is here on YouTube. His sunscreen videos are absolutely amazing. He is always super honest with everything that he says and does, and his advice is amazing, and he does some really beautiful makeup looks on his Fenty Fridays. So please go subscribe. He is also on Instagram, and he creates some beautiful content over there as well. So again, definitely check him out if you haven't heard of him before. And I know he has some really good hot takes on what is good and not good at Sephora, so go ahead and check his video out after you've seen mine. But on to the video. So part of working at Sephora is you just get exposed to so many brands, and you get to help people and really understand what is going to work for one person, what's not going to work for another. You also get to work behind the scenes with brands and really learn about how they formulated the product. So it's kind of interesting because you get a sneak peek behind the scenes view of it all. And so I feel like I really wanted to take into account the experiences I've had to tell you which products I think are just overrated and not worth the money, and which products you might not have heard about and they definitely deserve more hype. So without further ado, let's get into the products that I think are extremely overrated, and I'm gonna save you some money by telling you not to buy them. Alright, so the first overrated product I'm going to talk about is the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Bronzer. Now I know some of you are probably watching this being like, excuse me, the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Bronzer is amazing. I think it is a completely overpriced product that is just not worth the money. So this has a really large mirror, smells very coconutty, and I distinctly remember that when this product was released, it sold out immediately. People were buying it in droves, and every time we had a client come in, they'd be like, oh my gosh, but do you have the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Bronzer? I need it. And I felt the same way. I was very excited about the hype. I looked for it everywhere. It was sold out. There were people on eBay selling this for 3 times the price because Marc Jacobs had actually made this item limited edition. Then they came back with it and they put it on their shelves permanently because of the hype. Now, although it's a good bronzer, I really think that the hype really was because it was limited edition and because of the packaging. The packaging is super sleek. It almost kind of reminds me of an Apple product. It's just sleek, simple in its design, and you have this really nice mirror, which actually I do like and I have used many times, is what the draw was. People hadn't seen a bronzer that was this big. I mean, it's absolutely massive, right? But beyond that, it actually, it's the same as the Physicians Butter Bronzer. Like, it is the same. I have swatched them side by side. The shade is the same. And once I discovered this, it really did lose its magic for me because I thought, you know what? It really isn't that different than a drugstore bronzer. It's just prettier. So if you want to buy it because it's pretty, then do it. But I don't like that this doesn't cater to pretty much any skin tone that's not in my range or lighter. And I just thought it was kind of a waste of money. If you want to buy it and you want to splurge on the lovely packaging, then do so. But genuinely, I think the reason why it's hyped is because of the packaging. All right, next we have the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. This is extremely popular. It was recently reformulated and people really seem to love Tarte concealers. And in general, I have to say, I don't get it. It is an extremely sticky formula. It just sticks. And I don't mean in a way where the concealer's tacky, so it lays on smooth. I mean in a way that's really uncomfortable. And after having tried this on different clients, I don't get it. I think that there are tackier formulas that work more beautifully. I definitely noticed that it is sticky to the point where sometimes the powder will actually stick to certain areas of the concealer. It's too sticky. I just think it's really weird and it's hard to make it work, and we like products that are easy to work. So I think this is an overhyped product for sure. Next up, we have the Patrick Ta Highlighting Mist. I did get this in gratis and it came up very, very banged up. In general, I have to say, you guys, I have not been super impressed with Patrick Ta's line. I feel like a lot of his products are really, really just expensive for what they are, and this was no different. This is a spray that gives a nice glow to the face. It has a lot of alcohol in it, so it's not gonna be, you know, it's gonna be drying long term if you're really spraying that all over your face. First, I sprayed this all over my face and that was a mistake because it just completely ate away my makeup. This is truly like a finishing spray that you would spray to the tops of your cheeks, but in general, I found this very messy and very oily, and I can get the effect of this from a powder highlight or a liquid highlighter. So I just found it kind of gimmicky and kind of expensive for what it was doing. Yes, it was a nice product, but I wouldn't recommend it. And after having worked in the industry, I can tell you that the majority of what you're paying for is the packaging. And sometimes I think that's fine if the product's really good, but if the product's okay, I'm at a point where I'm not willing to pay for the packaging. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that I did not like the Smashbox Original Photo Finish. This is literally just a silicone primer, nothing special. I personally don't like the feeling of just pure silicone. It's very slippery and can get a little greasy. But beyond that, I think that you could find this at the drugstore. There are so many dupes for a silicone primer. NYX has many, and in general, I didn't find that this was super blurring. I would have reached for maybe the Professional, or Touch in Sol has an amazing silicone primer that's no longer sold at Sephora, I believe. This is just a more expensive version for no reason other than the fact that it's Smashbox. All right, and lastly, I'm going to talk about products that I don't own, but I definitely think are overpriced and overhyped, and actually I don't think the quality is good, and that would be Too Faced eyeshadow palettes around the holidays. So every holiday season, Too Faced creates some kind of holiday gift set, and it really is just glitz and glamour packaging. It's super cutesy, and so a lot of people end up falling for it and buying it, but I have never ever tried a shadow from Too Faced that I've thought, yes, thank God this is a Too Faced eyeshadow. These shadows are always very powdery. They kind of catch in certain areas, and I don't see a difference between the Too Faced shadows and a shadow from the drugstore. Usually I always see those sets at TJ Maxx like the next month for like 15 bucks or like 10 bucks instead of 40. So if you do want that and it appeals to you, I'm telling you, hold out, because most often than not, I end up seeing them at TJ Maxx the very next month. All right, so now that we have that tea, it's time for some positivity. These are some products that are less talked about and less hyped that I think deserve more love. And the first one would be the Kaja Don't Settle Concealer. You guys have heard me talk about this concealer a lot, and I really, really like it. It is so much more affordable than a lot of the other concealers that Sephora sells, and what I really like about it is it's just so creamy and spreadable. It is extremely thin and just very, very radiant, and it just blends like a dream. Now, this concealer is gonna give you medium coverage. It's not a full coverage concealer, but it's just absolutely beautiful on the skin, especially under the eyes if you have dry or creasing under eyes. But I also know that it's not so emollient that if you don't have dry under eyes, you're gonna think, oh my gosh, what sticky, wet mess is this? So I really, really love the Giorgio Armani concealer. I think it's amazing. It is, however, very pricey, and I'm convinced after playing with the texture, I am not able to detect the Armani concealer over the Kaja one. There's no difference, and this one is such a higher price tag. So this is definitely a little hidden gem that you wouldn't know about unless maybe you worked at Sephora. Next up, we have the Hourglass Strobe Light. Now, I know a lot of you have heard about Hourglass. It's definitely a hyped brand, but I feel like their ambient lighting powders get a lot more hype than their powder highlights. And there are just so many powder highlights on the market that probably having heard about them may not make you like run to the store and get them. But the reason I love the Hourglass powder highlights so much is because they end up looking wet on the skin. They actually look like a liquid. They're just so finely milled that you'll never get catching or emphasizing of pores, and it'll never look chunky. It's just a super refined powder. You can build it up for an absolutely blinding look if you're gonna go out to dinner, but if you're just going to just hang out at home, as we're all doing now, it still ends up looking so natural and glowy. So this is why I love it. It's just such a versatile product, so I highly recommend it. Next up, and I don't think this is going to be a surprise to many of you, is the Jouer Essential Lip Enhancer Balm. This is in the shade Peony, and oh my god, I think this is one of my favorite lip products I've ever discovered, and I don't hear anybody talking about it. And whenever I wear it, you guys always ask me, Sarah, what is on your lips? What are you wearing? That's so natural. Not only is the color super flattering, but this just makes my lips, it just makes them look bigger. It makes me look like I've even gotten a little filler that day, which I haven't. It looks like a plumping gloss, and I don't know if it's because of the ingredients in here. You know, it has that jojoba oil, shea butter, it's very moisturizing. You need to have it. It just, not only will it keep your lips hydrated in the winter, but it's just one of the most flattering lip shades and formulas I've ever had. So again, super underrated. I highly recommend it. All right, next we have an Anastasia palette. Now I know her large palettes are all the rage. We've seen the Soft Glam palette. We've heard about the large Norvina ones, but if you're wanting to go for something a bit more affordable, you may have just not considered her small Norvina mini Pro Pigment palettes. This is volume 1, and it's just a gorgeous purpley pink palette. I think I did a video on this, might have been my second video on this channel, and these textures are absolutely gorgeous. I think that the quality of the mattes is incredible, as well as the quality of the shimmers. I mean, in terms of how smooth they are, the way they swatch, the way they look on the eye. It's just a really good quality palette, and it's kind of nice to have palettes that are themed around a color scheme, because then you kind of know that you can use any of the colors together and they'll work. And it has a great little mirror in here, super easy to travel. It's magnetic too, so it just kind of closes very easily, but these are such a steal. And normally I've noticed that with other brands, they kind of cheapen out when they do a small palette. It's usually not to the quality of their larger palettes, but if anything, these are better than some of the shadows I've swatched in larger palettes. So I think these are such a steal. I never really heard anything about them after they launched, and they're definitely an underhyped product. All right, and last but not least, we're gonna start with Too Faced and end with Too Faced. I actually don't love most of Too Faced products. I really like their Born This Way foundation, and I love their waterproof eyeliner. And yeah, I don't love the brand in general. I think most of their products are gimmicky, but this eyeliner is so flipping good. It's kind of like their dark horse. It just kind of sits there. I've never heard them like push their eyeliner a lot. I don't hear people talk about it, but let me tell you, this eyeliner is so good. And I got into wearing liquid eyeliner kind of late, and I was never very good at it. So, you know, it takes practice. And I learned on this eyeliner. And so when I moved over to other brands, I was convinced that this eyeliner was my favorite because it's what I learned on. But then I realized, no, this eyeliner is just so easy to apply that it's just a lot easier than a lot of the other eyeliners on the market. Not only is it easy to apply, it dries matte, it dries beautifully, and it's truly waterproof, because my eyelids are extremely oily, which is super random because the rest of my face is dry. And normally when a product says waterproof, even if it's an eyeliner, I'll always get that little black line or dot or whatever in the middle of the crease, unless I really prime and really set it with powder. And even then, if it was like a sweaty day or I was out for a while, I'll have to check to see that the eyeliner hasn't kind of just a little bit transferred into that area. I never have to check with this. It's never done that to me. It's super black, that perfect balance of firm, not too firm, and flexible at the same time. And it's one of those products that I'm just gonna be loyal to. Very underrated. And that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, getting a little insider sneak peek of everything. Please stay tuned because Ramon and I are gonna come back and do a skincare version of this, so you're going to want to hit notifications on us both. And if you're not following Ramon on Instagram or subscribe to his channel, you absolutely need to. Not only is he genuine online, but he's also just a genuine person in real life. I'm gonna link all of his socials below, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what he came up with. He is so good when it comes to spilling that tea, so I definitely recommend that you check that video out for even more content. And that's it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok because I post there almost daily, and I will see you guys in my next video. I am wishing you the very best week. Bye!